Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm from Nature Publishing Group, so we publish scientific research. What I wanted to find out is we don't have any of your journalists on our list at the moment, but occasionally I see some of our research reported. So I was wondering where would your reporters be getting the stories from if it's not pitched direct from the source?
Well, one thing we don't use news wires, because I think that is a lot of people get into the trap of only taking stuff from the wires, and so you end up with like the problem with a lot of news is that it's duplicated from different publishers. You might see the same stories appearing on Telegraph, Mail, Metro, Huffington Post, all that stuff. So we don't take it from wires, but we often just get stuff from the wider internet. You know, if sort of stories like out there and trending on Gorkana or Reddit, a lot of stories come that way. A lot does come from Twitter, and then occasionally it's just like original reporting. So we had our first big scoop recently was when we were first to break the story of like Tony Gallagher getting sacked by the Telegraph, and so it was just a really kind of old school bit of reporting. Like our political editor Jim Watson, he got a tip off, and then another reporter of ours just made a call and stood it up. So there's that side of it.
Sorry, can I follow up? If we were to pitch to you, what, like for quite a hardcore science story, how would be the best way to put across, you know, maybe the fun side, the BuzzFeed side of a science story?
Yeah, I mean, you should just pitch it. I mean, we have a science editor, actually. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, she's called Kelly Oakes. And she'd love to be pitch stuff, yeah. Kelly.oakes@buzzfeed.com. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm from Reese Bradley Hepburn, and my question's about politics. You were just saying you want to do more of the same thing in the BuzzFeed UK, but one of the most successful parts of BuzzFeed US at the moment is their politics tab. And they have quite a lot of influence within American politics. Having studied politics myself, I was there when it started out, and when it's grown, I've watched it, and it's been very fascinating to me. You said you're hiring a couple of political reporters, and you've got a political editor, and I was wondering if you're looking to make a tab on the UK site for politics.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so we made the decision to kind of share a domain with BuzzFeed in the US. So it's not BuzzFeed.co.uk, it's BuzzFeed.com, but it's just optimized for British people. So that you look at the homepage, the main splash is something very British and all that. But the downside of that approach is that if you dig a bit deeper into the site, if you look into the navigation, you immediately just come to a load of US stuff because they were just producing so much more content. So I think we definitely want to reach a point where there is a dedicated vertical for UK politics, but it's kind of too early days really, because we've only got this political editor. It's just him, so he's only producing 1 or 2 articles a day. So I think it's just kind of too early days, but we definitely want to get to that point. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great question.
Hi, my name's Jess, and I'm from Cornwall. All the way up. I've got a plane.
Wow.
I really enjoyed your regional feature on Cornwall, as in we're open, you can get across even though the train line's down. It's amazing. It does so much for the morale of people down there. We are quite far down, but still connected. Are you going to be, so you talk about your news feeds and that's what you're going to focus on. Are you going to focus on news regionally as well? Because that's really exciting for us down there.
It would be brilliant if we could. I mean, I suppose we have to. A question of like focusing resources initially, but we did. It was Tom Phillips who wrote that piece, and he did. The reason he did it is because he also did one about
the 38 places reasons to go to Cornwall or something.
Yeah, but he did one before that was like, so in London everyone was whinging about the tube strike, and he was like on the same day there were these incredible pictures of like really massive waves like destroying the southwest coast, you know, and you know the infrastructure was being like completely destroyed, And so he kind of compared the two, like, this is what you're whinging about, this is like they've got real problems in Cornwall. And it was really, really popular, and it was like, the sort of, the amount of social sharing on the article was huge. It was like really, really viral, and we assume it must have been viral in Cornwall, you know. So we thought that, from that we thought we should write about regional stuff, but not necessarily just in the funny identity way. We should do it more in a kind of a newsy way.
I think there's definitely a market for it to be shared down there. Things in Cornwall do go. There's a guy, Kerno King. He's huge. He's like this massive comedy.
What's he called?
Like Kerno King. He wrote a piece for The Guardian about the floods, going, you guys don't have, you know, about the tube strikes. You guys haven't got a clue, you know. We're pretty much living in poverty, and now we're being rained on constantly. So, you know, it was really brilliant. But I think that would have been better suited for BuzzFeed. It just went absolutely everywhere. So
yeah, no, we definitely love to do more. I think it's just a question of, like, you
You're
know, you
very
need a
welcome.
reporter down there, and we're kind of not at that stage yet. But
you're very welcome to come down and come surfing.
Well, thanks for joining us today, by the way.
yeah, amazing.
Great. All the way from Cornwall. Thank you. Gentleman over here.
Hi there, I'm Tom from Chameleon. Sort of following on from that question, actually, obviously one of the things that you guys have talked about is the is the real impact of kind of regional insights, class insights, i.e. the things that kind of really resonate with individuals. In terms of actually getting those insights that sort of dig into things that people will understand, do you just get that from the mixture within your team and the kind of, you know, the friends, family, the environment they live in, or do you have any sort of techniques, methodologies, places you go to actually get that insight that gets under the skin of the people and the things you're writing about?
Great question.
Yeah, at the moment it's just kind of who we know, and that is a bit limiting. And we've only recently started, you know, sort of doing much in the way of freelance commissions. So for most of the first year, it was like people in the office. So if someone in the office grew up in, you know, Scotland, then they did the Scotland article. And but we have actually started going out and trying to find people who can write these things. So we did that. There's a student I know, a guy called Siraj, and he wrote a great piece that was like things like British Muslims will understand. And we've done a fair few articles like that, but we'd like to do loads more. So it's just a question of, like, spreading the word, and so people coming to us and pitching us ideas. Because I love all those kind of identity posts that really tap into, like, unexplored areas of British life. We did a great one on what it's like to grow up on a Scottish island, which is pretty niche. But you actually, the interesting thing about those articles is that you'd think they would only be read by that niche, but actually a lot of people who aren't part of that niche love to read them just out of curiosity. So we definitely want to do more of those.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Oh, there's a lady down here. Thank you.
Oh, hello.
We'll come up to you next. We'll take this one, and then we will get to you guys. Thank you.
Hi, Luke. I was just wondering what your approach is to events, so things like the Enemy Awards and things like that.
Are you still looking after the Enemy Awards?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we used to work together at IPC when I was at NME. Events.
Like, do you have time to go, like, get out to things like that, or are you looking for stuff to be sent to you afterwards?
Reporter, she is going to the Enemy Awards, so she did go to the BAFTAs. So I think the thing is, what we found is, like, in terms of, like, writing about the talking points and the most shareable things about those big events, it's often about the TV coverage, isn't it? So we found it's really great to be there. And we'll definitely be at the Enemy Awards, because that's not, I don't think it's not going to be on TV. But you find, like, with the Brits as well, it was the thing that performed the best that we wrote about the Brits was, like, just picking holes in James Corden's, like, TV coverage, and it wasn't necessarily about being at the event. So I think it's good to do both. I think you try and have someone there, but you also need someone who's just like keeping an eye on Twitter and watching on TV, because those are the real talking points, because there's not many people at the event itself. So, is that helpful?
Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Maka Sharifi from Gosh PR. I was just wondering, obviously you're talking about BuzzFeed UK. I was wondering whether Is this on? Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
We just couldn't
I wasn't
see
too sure if I
you.
was just talking to myself
We
there.
couldn't see you.
You've been talking about BuzzFeed UK. I was wondering how you fit in with kind of like the global company, the US companies, and obviously all the other situational and geographical BuzzFeeds. Is there kind of like a sense of competition? Who can get the most viral article? Do you have kind of like global conference calls along those lines?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched them quite a lot, but it's very hands-on. And in fact, there's 3 guys from the New York office, editorial guys, are in our office today. And the idea is that we should just like share expertise, you know, because often a hit BuzzFeed post will often be someone's just like found a new trick, like a new way of making GIFs, or whatever it might be. And the most recent example was someone found a brilliant way to do a quiz, and it was a girl called Ashley Perez in the New York office, and she did like, which city in the world should you live in?
Oh, yeah.
And we'd been doing quizzes for ages, but she just worked out a brilliant format for it, and it did like 20 million views, and that kind of unlocked a whole new kind of way of doing quizzes, which has been huge for us. So with those things, it's when someone has a hit like that, they're then encouraged to share that expertise. Our senior writer, a guy called Tom Phillips, also.
Apparently you know what your mic is.
Oh, is it not working? Oh.
Oh, is it stopped? Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. That'd be why.
Has no one been able to hear me for the last half an hour? Okay. Yes, our senior writer Tom Phillips, he found a way to do like satire, a way of like mocking up different newspaper front covers and stuff. He did a thing called like, How the Media Will Report the Apocalypse, and it was really funny. So he was then brought over to New York to like tell everyone in New York how to do that kind of satire. So there is definitely a culture of like sharing tips and tricks, but apart from that, it's pretty hands off. So.
He's the man of the moment. Thank you.
It's yeah. So I mean, in terms of like specific like editorial direction, we don't really hear from New York that much. They just let us go on with things because
perfect job.
Yeah,
it's just a perfect job. Thank you very much for that question. Is there someone else up there? Yes, the microphone.
Hi, I'm Ruth from Pitch PR. We work with a sports betting company who like to do big stunts around certain events. When we're doing these stunts, do you ever take like a heads up that we're going out there somewhere on occasion and we're doing something? Or do you rather see if it gets pick up first and then say if it's been on Reddit or if it's hitting other places like Mail Online? Do you take it after that, or do you want a head up?
So far, we've generally kind of waited for things to get pick up. Really, that tends to be how we do it. But because we've just got more staff now, we are starting to respond to pitches from PRs a bit more. So I think yesterday, reporter Alan White, he went to a thing which is like a sort of SAS training day. I can't remember what that was to promote, but it's like previously he probably would have said no because he needed to be in the office like producing content. But now we've got a few more people, so we're much more open to all that stuff. And our lifestyle editor, she likes to do quirky travel stuff, and so recently she went on a trip to like the World Naked Sledding Championships. So we're starting to do a lot more with PRs basically, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think there's a lady ready down here.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm Tony from Bloomberg. I'm interested to know in how you drive your traffic and whether it's how much of it comes from searching versus social and internal traffic. And I'm also curious about how I could find your top 10 lists of the top 10, like your top 10 best lists, essentially.
Okay. Well, our traffic, like very little of it comes from SEO, which is really kind of refreshing as a journalist, because a lot of people the last few years they've been trained that the main like journalistic talent is like writing a headline that has all the keywords in it, and it's really tedious. SEO is awful. So we don't have to worry about that because we're just concerned with creating articles that get shared, which means you can be much more creative with the headlines. They could be more emotive, and it's just more about sort of being entertaining and distinctive. So I would, yes, 70% of our traffic in the UK comes from Facebook. About 6% comes from Twitter. So it's pretty huge difference. And then below that, you get some quite negligible referrals from places like Google Plus and Pinterest, which is starting to pick up, but still it's like 1%. So the vast majority is Facebook.
And then you also asked about the lists. Was that how you find the top 10?
Top 10 lists, your top 10.
You mean the most popular ones?
Yeah.
I don't think you could find it anywhere, but if you, on any given day, if you go to buzzfeed.com/hot, that gives a snapshot of the posts that are performing best on that day.
You know offhand your top 3?
Yeah, in the UK, yeah, the most read one ever was that sort of funny Twitter conversation between Tesco and all the different brands. I think the second most read one ever was 27 middle class problems, and the third one I think would probably be, it might actually be Tom Phillips' ranking of the different tube lines, possibly.
Oh, right.
So yeah, they're always, the top ones are always funny, basically.
Thank you very much. Who has the microphone now? Ah, there it is.
Hi, my name is Ramona. I'm from a charity called Action on Hearing Loss. You spoke about earlier about how some charities have actually signed up to the community portals and how they perform quite well. I'm just wondering what opportunities there are for charities, because most of us, we're not having really sort of entertaining, funny content, and we're just a little bit more serious. I'm just wondering what sort of topics will probably perform quite well and what opportunities there are for charities.
Yeah, there's been a few. Shelter have done some really good posts. I think where some charities have gone wrong is maybe trying to be a bit too like down with the kids. They'll take a really serious topic, but they'll explain it with cat gifs, and it's a little bit naff. But I think if charities just think about what assets they do have, and I was talking to someone from, I think it was the Red Cross, and I found out that they had this incredible archive of like fully licensed photos from like disaster areas. And I said, well, you should just use those. You could have a really like high impact article that was just saying, here are some photos that explain what is going on in this region of the world. And I thought that was a much better approach. Just use the assets that you do have, rather than trying to sort of make it BuzzFeedy, which often can be a little bit naff.
Thank you very much. Where are we? There. Hello.
Hi. Is this? Yeah. Hi. I'm Laura from HarperCollins. We're actually publishing Alan Partridge's next autobiography.
Sorry, where? I can't see.
Next.
Can you put your
Oh, hello.
We've got lights in our eyes. That's why we're not blind.
Yeah, we've got Alan Partridge's next autobiography coming up, so I look forward to chatting to you about that then. But I wanted to ask whether you and the team like to be sent things like books, if the content is likely to be fun, or do you prefer PRs to tease out some content for you because you've got limited resources? How best is it?
Definitely like being sent books. Like being sent anything really, because we're quite new, so it's still quite a novelty to get sent something cool in the post. So yeah, that's really nice. But sometimes really great posts can be based on books, and that is something we sort of discovered about a year ago. I think someone did something on like foods that are banned in America but freely available elsewhere. It was something like that, and it was really popular. And it just came from someone in the New York office had been sent a book, and so they took the best elements of it, and then at the bottom there was a link to buy the book. And this email went round saying, "Hey, I've got a great tip. Like, you can read books. Books have really good information that you can use in posts." So I think a lot of people that work at BuzzFeed, they're so like immersed in the internet, they forget that you can be sent a book and it'll be really useful. So yeah, please send us books.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hi there, my name's Chris Calvert. I'm from English National Opera. And I wondered if we work with a lot of people who are not usually associated with the world of opera, be it from theatre and celebrities and film directors and things. If we were to get people who are well known and very BuzzFeedy to actually write their own lists rather than them coming from us, is it better to do that via one of your reporters and hook them up, or is it better to do it via a DIY channel and then to flag them up that way?
Yeah, it depends who it is, really. I suppose if it was someone quite high profile, then it might look weird for it to be in the community section. So if you had someone really good, then just let us know, and then we can publish it in the editorial section. But yeah, we've had some really good stuff in the area of like classical music and opera. Classic FM have done some community posts which are absolutely brilliant. They did one, like a really fun quiz. I think it was like pastor or composer. And that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I didn't do very well on that quiz.
Right. And I think Radio 3, they did something about like what everyone should know about opera. I'm not sure how well that one did, but it's just really cool when you, because like, we've never written about classical music or opera, so when someone else does, it's really, really nice.
Thanks so much. I'm so sorry, guys. We're going to have to leave it there. It's half time, but Luke's hanging around for a bit, so if you've got questions, do come up and grab him. I know you really don't mind, do you?
No, that'd be good.
Just quickly before you pack up, on the 4th of March, we've got another great breakfast with London Live, which is the new Evening Standard TV. So really interesting to hear from them. They're launching on March the 31st, so we're getting in with them before that. They're really keen to hear from the PR community. So if you want to come along to that would be super. But I hope you've enjoyed today. Hope you found it as fascinating as I have. And a very big thank you for Luke for coming along today and sharing all these gems. Thank you so much. It's brilliant.